too really like that song. Love those words and that whole thought. So I just have to say, I was on vacation a week ago with some of our kids and some of our grandkids. I got to see Kelly this last weekend, and next week I'm going to go see somebody important to me, an old friend in Hawaii. So it's going to be, I'm really getting to connect with lots of people, which is awesome. But the other thing that I love is how good it feels to me to be in this room with us, like all of us, like just light and love bombarding me as I stand here and you guys, you're focused on me. It's really awesome. So make sure today at some point you kind of shift a little and feel some of it from everybody else in the room. Well, the learning theme for August is transcendent or transcendence. And I think I know what that means. I thought I'd look it up anyway. Transcendent means going beyond the limits of ordinary existence, going beyond the universe of material existence. And as I looked up the definition, it was interesting. Every time I looked it up online, it also compared to immanent. So transcendent, going beyond ordinary existence. Immanent, which means existing or operating within, inherent, and a special definition of God permanently pervading and sustaining the universe. So I thought that was so interesting. That transcendent compares to immanent. So, we so much teach in unity the immanence of God in us, or the immanence of divinity in us. And that transcendence is the going beyond the physical. Well, it's interesting because it in some way it's like a paradox and that means the same thing, or the two words are very entwined in my thought. I have a picture of evolving beyond my human self, transcendence. I'm evolving, like I am standing on stepping stones of my former selves. I keep evolving, and I'm transcending who I was or who I started as. And at the same time, the way I do that is I pay attention, or I allow what's immanent in me, the God particle, as it will, to guide this transcendence. I think I know what it means when I contemplate the idea that my immanent divinity guides me to transcendence beyond my human expression. And as I say that, I even realize I say beyond my human expression, but I think everybody here, we already feel that, our humanity is so entwined or so a part of our divinity. At least for me, I feel like I cannot really separate that out. I mean, I can act very human, don't get me wrong. But I'm never without the feeling, I guess I'll just say that's lucky. I feel it's a blessing that I am never without the feeling of the immanence of divinity in me. So I also love that you picked a song about love to start us off with, and then that special music was really awesome too, because I want to talk about the frequency of unconditional love. One of my favorite teachers is David R. Hawkins, and I will show you his map of consciousness, but he says the frequency, the consciousness of unconditional love always heals. It cannot help but heal. That's why 12-step groups are so powerful. That's why a mother's love is so powerful, or a father's love, or a sister's, or a brother's, a partner's love. Unconditional love always heals. It is a force. Now, let's, and this is just so echoed in the things we study. In the Course of Miracles is so much about choosing love instead of fear. And unconditional love always heals. And in the Paul Selig work, one of the recent affirmations that we're studying in that book group is, I now see everybody through the eyes of love. Like whenever you're fussing about something, whenever I know somebody comes along and rains on your parade a little bit, if you have the wherewithal to sit there and go, I now see everyone with the eyes of love. That changes your consciousness. It changes the energy. So, and I want to show you this map of consciousness, my people. Okay, there's a nice quote from Eric Butterworth. The universe in which we live is strangely and wonderfully accommodating. That was just, it's funny, that was just on the slides for the map of consciousness, and I thought it was a beautiful quote, so I kept it in. So here's the next slide. And you probably can't, can you see any of the words from there? Okay, good. So this is the below truth. So these are like way down here. This is the consciousness of shame. He's got a logarithm. There's numbers, just, goes from 0 to 1,000. This is just the bottom half. We'll see it. And it doesn't, it's just a way, it's a picture, right, of consciousness. And it happens to be a map that goes up. And, shame, guilt, apathy, hatred, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. So these are the levels. And it's interesting that, sometimes so little anger can take you out of grief or lift you above fear. It's like, so this is the conscious. But all of this is the level of falsehood. So let's go to the next slide. And this is level truth and above. So, and as you can see, the numbers go from 200 up to 1,000. And I really don't even know what the numbers mean, but it's just like a way of noticing frequency or some. But the levels that feel important to me are courage, neutrality, willingness, acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, enlightenment. And we're just going to keep that up there for a while as I talk about this. Transcending the Levels of Consciousness, The Stairway to Enlightenment is the book that I got this from, but actually all of David R. Hawkins' books have this map, and I've shown it before. And here's an interesting thing. Just looking at the map, getting the idea of it will actually raise your consciousness. And if you want it, I can give you a copy of the map if you want. Just noticing that there are levels of consciousness. I don't know about you, but as soon as I heard about enlightenment, the concept of enlightenment, which was not exactly what I learned about in my lovely liberal but still Catholic background, I didn't know about enlightenment. I knew I was supposed to be good. When I heard about the concept of enlightenment, that concept really went through me. So that's like, for me, that's about transcendence, that I actually could go all the way up there through all these things, and my consciousness could be enlightened. And I got a picture of it. We have to have a picture of it in order to get there. So in a way, that was my first map, just hearing about the concept. It was sometime around 87 or something, really, that I'd heard the word and connected it with myself, that it's something that I could do. And as soon as I heard that, that became one of my goals. Well, I want to be enlightened. That sounds really good. Being enlightened, being transcended, sounded awesome, and I wanted that. Let's just do my next slide. This just lists the word. It's easier to say, and the feeling. So I'm just going to keep that up. But like courage, affirmation is the feeling. For neutrality, trust. For the level of consciousness of willingness, the feeling would be optimism. Acceptance, the feeling is forgiveness. Reason, the feeling is understanding. Love, the feeling would be reverence. Joy, serenity. Peace, bliss. Enlightenment, and then ineffable, which means you can't really even know what the feeling is, because it is a feeling that is so not of the human experience in a way. It is just, it is that super big vision, and there are no words. What I want to point out is I think that some of the best spiritual practices for me have been at the acceptance, forgiveness place. You know, that is just perhaps because it's given, you know, the act of forgiveness, that spiritual practice of forgiveness, has raised my everything else in doing that. And then up to love and reverence. So forgiveness and love. You know, forgiveness is an emotion and love is the state of consciousness. Forgiveness and love. And I want to read to you a little bit from Gary Zukov, who is one of the most, I've met him. He's just one of the most quiet and unassuming, loving master teachers I have ever met. He writes beautifully, and when you meet him, he is just he's just a quiet, sweet man with love and radiating out from him. To me, when I meet him, I feel all those things. You know, I feel like when he talks about forgiveness, I feel it. You know, today I'm only going to speak the truth. You know, that song. I feel truth from him. You know, I feel like there is no pretense, and I aspire to that. And I'm perfectly willing to admit a lot of times I'm still pretending. You know, it's an unconscious thing, but I'm still pretending to be okay. I find myself, oh yeah, I'm okay. Am I really? So Gary Zukov, I take very seriously the things he says, and I'm going to just read you this little teaching from him. How to protect your spiritual energy. Energy from the perspective of your soul is very different than energy from the perspective of your five senses. Spiritual growth requires understanding the differences between these two perspectives. From the perspective of the five senses, energy is the ability to do work, to get things done. The more energy you have, the more things you can accomplish. The important questions from this perspective are, how much energy do you have? Are you getting enough sleep? Worrying too much? Do you need more vitamins? Are your mitochondria healthy? People who worry about these things go to physicians, nutritionists, and psychologists to get more energy. They don't want to be sleepy or tired. The problem is physical or psychological. The cure is medicine or psychotherapy. Okay, I cannot say that I have transcended that. I'm always saying, oh, I'm tired, I need this, I need that, I have to run because it makes me happy, or I have to get enough sleep, and and I don't think that's wrong. I'm just saying that's part of the five senses, that's part of our body, we're in our body, let's just own it. And it's interesting because there's two sides of the same coin, really, in a way. When you think about the people who ignore it and just ignore maybe taking good care of their body. And then on the other side, there's people who are very, very careful taking good care of their body. But it's actually the same level of consciousness. Super taking care of your body from the outside in, versus the inside out. Or totally ignoring your body. It's the same level of consciousness. Now, here Gary goes on. From the perspective of your soul, the important question is not how much energy you have, but what kind of energy you have. There are only two kinds of energy. Very Course in Miracles. Of course, anger, jealousy, resentment, stress, cravings, addictions, and compulsions feel like different energies. Each creates its own kind of sensation in your body. It hurts. And acting on each creates a kind of consequence, usually destructive and painful. Okay, these appear to be different energies, but they are different experiences of fear. The other kind of energy is love. Different experience of love can also feel like different energies. Appreciation, gratitude, patience, awe of life, contentment. Each of these comes with different physical sensations. They feel good, and acting on these energies also brings a particular kind of consequence, health, joyfulness. So even though these experiences feel like different energies, they're actually the same. It is one kind of energy, love. So there's different experiences of the same energy. Now, here is what I love about Gary Zukav. He really takes things deep. Now the story becomes even more interesting. Right? Some experiences of fear can appear to be experiences of love. What? For example, romantic love. You long for someone, which can be painful. Try to influence the person, also painful, right? We know this. And at last, attract him or her into your life. Oh, you feel wonderful. You've got that person. But intense pain follows immediately when he or she leaves, dies, or falls in love with someone else. And I am so noticing that just about, loving my son, and he comes and he goes, how to be in love and not in loss. So I'm sort of, I haven't transcended yet. So there are many examples of fear appearing as love. This is Gary nailing all of us people in religion, etc., all us helping people. Chaplains, clergy, hospice workers, medical care professionals, and numerous others may appear to be loving and yet not act consistently from love. Some may act in order to feel better about themselves, to create a desirable self-image. For example, as a caring, patient, philanthropic, or altruistic person. When their efforts are not appreciated or are rejected, they feel disappointed, pain, unappreciated, or abused, pain, resentment, pain, until it grows and becomes anger. So I have confessed, there's been times I've noticed you think you're doing something out of love, but you're really doing it for any of those other reasons. But don't worry, there's good news at the end of it. When the bottom line bedrock can't go any deeper reason for an action is to benefit another, the energy beneath your action is love. When the bottom line bedrock can't go any deeper reason for action is to benefit yourself, the energy beneath your action is fear. Only you can know your real intention, and you may not know it unless you have the courage and commitment to look for it and find it. This is where we are the spiritual warriors here. When we are willing to look at the things we do and find out, well, is this bottom line thing I'm doing? And it's probably a combination for many things, but can you take yourself to the deep? Can you really examine yourself and go? Ask yourself that question. Okay, so why do I want to do this? Why do I want to... I'm going to use an example that Roland's not going to mind because he gives me permission to talk about him. I think that out of love, I want Roland to exercise every day. That'll make him feel better. Is it really about him? It's probably, if I am really and truly and deeply figuring that out, there is probably an element of fear in that. I want him to be healthy. I want him to stick around. So can I go to the very depth of my love for him and then ask every time, well, should I ask him to go around the lake, yes or no, instead of, I think Roland should exercise 30 minutes every day, That's probably coming from fear. But the way around that is just to stop and find the love. Okay, so if I would go to the bottom bedrock, love, and I do love Roland, that's definitely my bottom bedrock, so then I would ask and I would use the immanence of God within me for my transcendence. And I would say, okay, if my bottom line is love, then I can just ask what's up for me today and what's up for Roland, what's the highest good for us today, and say, let's see. Well, I can say, do you want to walk around the lake? And he can say yes or no. And that would be from love, especially if I don't care. If I have an investment, there's probably a little more fear. If I don't care, meaning if I am willing to let it go, then that's probably more about love. And it's actually kind of exciting when you start to do this because it makes life more interesting. Because the things we do from fear are going to stress us, even if they're really buried, and especially the things we think we have to do. Anything we think we have to do, if we don't really take it down to love or fear, anything, especially something that's causing you stress, take it down, or take it imminent, find out. And then the immanence of God will help us do the transcendence. Let me keep reading because Gary does really put things really well. There is more energy in love than in fear. You might say it is the highest octane fuel available. Not love for this person or that person, love for everyone. Love for life, love for the Earth School and everything in it. Ram Dass once told me, smiling happily, I love you, I love her, I love this table, I love the ocean, I am in an ocean of love. Most of us, on the other hand, live in an ocean of fear. Love is tireless, healing, and inexhaustible. It brings people together. It is powerful beyond measure. It is the great compassion that Buddhists speak about. It is the love that surpasses all understanding that Christians talk about. Have you thought about energy this way? Have you ever looked at the things you do and say and asked yourself, am I doing this from love or am I doing this from fear? This is the most important question you can ask because it brings you the most important choice you can make, the choice between love and fear. Not only is this choice possible, it is the choice you were born to make each moment. Choosing to act with love no matter what is happening inside you, such as painful experiences of fear, and around you, around us, such as national or international crisis or shootings, is creating authentic power. Creating authentic power depends upon your choice. Choosing fear almost always happens unconsciously. Choosing love always happens consciously. So, the last two things are really important. We want all of ourselves. We want us to get in the habit of asking ourselves the question and choosing consciously. So we want to choose, and it may not be obvious, and you may do the same action. Like, why am I doing this? As long as you find out why you're doing it, you can take it to love. It might still be the same action. It could easily be the same action, but it will feel completely different. And here is the thing I really love. We will not get tired. It is true. I do know that it takes a lot of energy to be in fear. And that when we choose love, miraculous amounts of energy flow through our bodies. And we don't have to worry about being sleepy and tired, or we sleep, whatever. It's like the love energy does not wear us out. It is the fear energy that drains us. So I have one thing to tag on to the end of this. So about our energy of choice. So let us, I ask all of us, and I'm always talking to myself, to get into the energy of love and to remember to choose love. And maybe you can find a friend who will be kind enough where you could say, hey, could you remind me the next time I start complaining? That you might say, well, so how can you choose love instead of the complaint? Just see if you have a buddy who might be willing to do that for you, and you might be willing to do that for them. And then so I'm going to ask you right now to consciously choose love. I have a little announcement that is, changes, and this gives you a lot of warning, but I'm going to retire next summer from full-time ministry. It doesn't mean that, well, I don't even know what that's going to look like, except that I'm pretty sure next year I'll be 66, and I have a call in my heart to do something different. Maybe do some more art, maybe travel around the world. I'm not really sure. But by next summer, I'm here for the year, but for next summer, I'm going to retire. And I want you to help me choose love consciously and be with me in that and talk to me about it. It doesn't mean I'm going out of your life by any means. I don't know where I'll be, but I do know that I will not be a full-time minister next summer. So, if you, just some people already know, some people may have heard things, but I want you to talk to me about it. I'm happy and willing to talk to everybody about it, and we will choose love. So let us now take an offering for unity. I invite you to take your gift of support for this community, and let's say this affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I